morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to go and take a look at a bizarre deck that has gone and done some winning over in Japan. It's Sweem Freely. It's basically just Dewgong, I'll be honest with you. It's basically just Dewgong. But I'm telling you right now, it's quite a straightforward deck, at least in terms of its Pokemon line. And I'm kind of loving it. You see, we're talking here about the Dewgong that came around in Lost Origin. And for a single energy, we've got Sweem Freely, 10 damage, flip a coin. If heads, it's basically invincible for a turn. You prevent all damage and effective attacks done to this Pokemon. And we need Sweem Freely, we'll see that in a minute. We have to have that attack or it doesn't work. But that's not really what we're going for here. What we're really going for here is the attack Flow Return. And what we've got from Flow Return is 2 energy, shuffle any amount of water energy from your Pokemon into your deck. And this attack does 40 damage for each card you shuffled into your deck in this way. So in theory, if you can get enough energy down on the field, you can just kind of sit there and chill, do a whole bunch of damage, and then get rid of the energy, and then get the energy back, and then do a whole bunch of damage, and get the energy back, and do a whole bunch of damage, and round we go. Sounds honestly like an awful lot of fun. Which just really leaves us with 2 questions. How do we get the energy, and how do we attach the energy? Now, in terms of attaching the energy, well, that's where our boy Finian comes in. Because, and we do have the wonderful Okacheke alternate art, the pre-release promo from Lost Origin. And honestly, I'm going to be testing this deck on TCG Live over the next week or so. And because we've got everything we need from this deck. There's nothing Japan's got that we don't right now. And I'm going to go and buy a bunch of the Okacheke Finian pre-release promos. If this is actually good, oh, I'm playing this deck. Because I want to play this card in a deck. Plus, Finian's kind of adorable. Putting that out there. Look at this print from Unified Minds. Nothing to do with this deck, but look how cute he is. But the point is, Finian's got the ability Oceanic Accompaniment, wonderful ability name, that says that often as you like during your turn, you may attach a water energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon that has the Sweem Freely attack. Which is why Dewgong needs to have the Sweem Freely attack. It's very, very, very important, or else you're not able to accelerate energy to it. Okay, so now we've actually got a way to get the energy on. How do we get the energy into our hand? Well, we've got a bunch of different ways, but one of the things I like about this deck is just going hard on Bibarel. And it kind of honestly makes sense here. Because what you need to do with a deck like this is just get a bunch of energy, attach it, get a bunch of energy, attach it, get a bunch of energy, attach it, and round we go. Well, what Bibarel allows you to do is draw until you've got 5 cards in your hand. But the theory is you draw, hopefully there's some energy, you attach it, draw again. And honestly, your bench here, you should have at least 2, if not 3 Bibarel out. And then just be drawing a bunch of cards every turn. With the advantage that your draw engine now, it's a single prize draw engine. So you don't need to worry about giving up 2 prizes. And there's things that go after EXs and Vs that don't go after you. And when this works, oh, it's wonderful. Also, fun little side note, who does the art for the base print of Bibarel? Okacheke. Was actually also a pre-release promo as a fun little side note. 2 of the 3 big cards here were pre-release promos, but we're not playing the pre-release promo here. We are definitely playing the regular Okacheke version. Awesome. So, with all of that borne in mind, what else do we have? Because the basic deck kind of sorts itself out quite nicely here. Evolve up into Dewgong. Get your Finian on the bench ready to accelerate a whole bunch of energy. Get your Bibarel drawing a whole bunch of cards. And then draw with Bibarel, attach with Finian, smash with Dewgong. Sounds like a plan. The only other Pokemon we've got going on here is Radiant Greninja. Now, Radiant Greninja is a really fun but really frustrating Pokemon. Because you've got that ability, lets you discard an energy card from your hand, draw 2 cards. And obviously we're being a little generous with our energy line here. We're playing a whole bunch of energy. So we're going to be using this ability. We're going to be drawing some cards. Job's a good un. The downside here is it's actually got a really nice attack that lets you discard 2 of its free energy and do 90 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. And it's using water energy, which we're playing. We just can't really ever use it. Because Finian only accelerates energy to Pokemon that have Swim freely, and Greninja unfortunately doesn't. Although, this might be a great time to let you know, we are playing a copy of Poppy here. Because Poppy, of course, lets you move up to 2 energy from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon. So Poppy lets you move 2 energy over to Greninja. Then you use your attachment for the turn, and oh look, you have free energy on Greninja. So it's a little bit awkward, but with Poppy, yes, you absolutely can use this attack to actually go and wreak some havoc on your opponent's bench, and I, for one, think that's wonderful. Now, moving over into our trainer cards here, obviously, our ace spec of choice here is going to be Hyper Aroma. It kind of has to be Hyper Aroma. Because if you look at the deck, you do play Finian, which is obviously a basic, but your entire deck really revolves around you getting Dewgong and Bibarel. It is a deck that needs Dewgong and Bibarel out so you can start drawing cards and actually attacking. They're both stage 1s, so that is a point where you just swallow your pride and just play Hyper Aroma. Because, honestly, Hyper Aroma is just too good in this deck. Gets all of your stage 1s, job's a good un. Well, it gets 3 stage 1s, but 3 should be enough, frankly. 3 should be enough. Elsewhere in cards we need to have a little bit of a look at here. Obviously, we are playing a bunch of Earthen Vessel, because that lets you search for your energy, and you kind of need to search for your energy here. And we're also playing Letter of Encouragement. You can only use it if one of your Pokemon was knocked out last turn, but you search your deck for free basic energy. Well, couple of important things here. Firstly, you're playing weak Pokemon, you're going to have Pokemon KO'd pretty regular, like. And secondly, if you didn't have a Pokemon KO'd last turn, then you're not falling behind in the game, and it's not as important to keep up with the KOs. You know, if you're not losing a single prize Pokemon on your opponent's turn, you're probably not in a massive hurry to start jumping ahead and catching up. You can just go with the flow for the time being. Just keep swimming, as it were. So this is fantastic. It's a great card. It doesn't see a lot of play in a lot of decks, but in this deck it absolutely does. We do need to play some Super Rod here. That's pretty important, because Super Rod lets you go and get your Pokemon and energy back. Now, in terms of Dewgong, remember, you shuffle the energy into your deck, and that is important. We haven't said this yet, so let me say it now. The later the game goes, the thinner your deck is going to be, which means a higher percentage of cards in your deck are going to be energy, and you're still using your Bibarel to draw a whole bunch of cards, and you add that all up together, yeah, works very nicely indeed. But you still need to recover your Pokemon, especially as you've only got, 4 Dewgong in your deck. So you do need to make sure here that you are playing stuff like Super Rod, because that's going to be important. We've also got Superior Energy Retrieval here, only generally playing like one of these, but it's another one whereby energy is going to end up in your discard. If nothing else, then through Radiant Greninja, having access to 4 of them so that you can grab them back, attach them all, and do an extra 160, that seems like a pretty good idea to me. And the other card we really need to talk about here is Irida. Because Irida, of course, goes and searches for a water Pokemon and an item card. Well, firstly, literally your entire deck other than Bibarel is water Pokemon, so I feel like you're going to get value out of your Irida in that regard. But secondly, you have things like Letter of Encouragement that you really want access to on the right turn. So Irida is going to help here massively. And actually, we probably should just give a quick shout out to Cynthia as well here, because Cynthia is another card where you have to have had a Pokemon KO'd last turn, but then you get to draw until you have 8 cards in your hand. It's a really aggressive draw supporter, and it's not great in the early game. And between Bibarel and this, you can have some slower early turns, although honestly, Irida for Hyper Aroma a lot of the time is going to help you out massively. But then when you do get rolling, this is going to be perfect. You get a Pokemon KO'd, go and use Cynthia, get a hand of 8 cards. Oh, one of them's Letter of Encouragement. Oh, I had a Pokemon KO'd last turn, and round we go. Here's a list as a whole. I love this deck, and partly it's just because I really want to play that Finian in a deck. But it's a single prize deck where you've got the option of Greninja. It's a little awkward, but it can work. Where, because you're playing a bunch of energy search cards, and because you're going heavy on the B-Barrel line, you should be able to draw into a bunch of energy. And look, it's going to be a bit of a pain. 6 energy to KO basic Vs and EXs. Like 8 energy to go and KO your bigger EXs. I get all of that. But when this runs, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be fun. And I've seen it winning a couple of tournaments over in Japan. So I just had to let you know. But now I have. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this deck. Tell me if you think it stands a chance. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Get us. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely It's a Coaster, who is active over in our Discord and is awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.